Holy complications. This is Flight Check, Season 2, Episode 12. It's another episode of Flight Check. We are so excited to be back, and so excited to be back in playoffs. To channel my inner Jim Mora, this is a dated reference. Maybe someone in the chat will get it, but, playoffs? You're talking about playoffs?
Playoffs?
Are you kidding me? Playoffs? I just want to win a game. Honestly, that is my sentiment.
Last year?
Yeah, that is the sentiment. But anyway, we are back in the playoff scene. My name is Sandy Toes, and to my left and my extra left are Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Gentlemen, let's talk about playoffs. It's been a weekend. Super week, more like super week with an A, until the Cloud9 game, and even that was a little weird at times. I have not managed to watch the Golden Guardians match yet, so I'm gonna need some assistance on that one. But that was a dub, clearly. And then the EG game, we simply cannot beat this team. I don't know what it is. Nox, I know you you're always on top of everything. FlyQuest.
Not always, but I try to be.
FlyQuest Academy, what you might have. Give me the overall thoughts on this weekend. 5 games, as I was noting to you right before the show. Technically, we have now played 2 more games than everyone else in the LCS, except for EG and Golden Guardians, who both played 19. So, hey, we have more stage experience right now than everyone else in the league. I don't know if that counts for anything, but we did finish the split 10-10. Please, how are you feeling after what started looking like a disappointing weekend, kind of redeemed itself, and then fell back flat on its face?
Dude, I'm just so glad I'm just glad we made playoffs, okay? That was the one goal that Nick said. He said it on social media, he said it in interviews, he said it on our very own podcast. He said the one org this year was we better be in playoffs. And
right.
Coming into this weekend, it was like, look, okay, the odds are actually stacked in our favor, but we really, really should win a game.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't win a game, like, this could go really badly. And so, of course, it's like, well, the hardest match of the weekend is definitely going to be Cloud9. So hopefully you win EG or Immortals. And lo and behold, because this org loves to give heart attacks, we lose EG, and then we run into Immortals, who's been knocked out of playoffs at this point. So they get the any more buffs, so we're gonna play loose, and they end up winning and beating us. And it's just, oh god, I don't even know what to do anymore. So then Cloud9 comes along and we end up winning. It's like, oh, all right, we're Counter Logic Gaming now. We're seeing that. I have no other explanations. And that tiebreaker, and we can get at the end. My main point is I'm just thrilled we're in playoffs.
Yeah, same here. I am aware, let me just say real quick, I'm aware that the bitrate is not doing its thing, dropping some frames here and there. Not sure what's going on. I think, like both me and Curly, we're all a little tired. Curly, give me the 45-second rundown of your apartment saga yesterday and today, because the people need to know what's going on in your life.
Well, I mean, so it all boils to old plumbing, and some people not realizing that apparently you can't put Clorox wipes down them, because that turned out to be the solution. But yesterday, toilet water was not in the toilet, but it wasn't doing anything outside of the toilet. It was just in the bathtub. Left for D&D. It was fine. Was at D&D. My roommate that stayed home was like, hey, things are kind of flooding, but we put towels, so it should be fine. 30 minutes later, hey, your room is soaked and our hallway is soaked. And my dad's on his way. And then I get back and we stay up till 6 a.m. consistently pumping out water and throwing it out our window to make sure that it didn't flood, having to wear shoes all around. And then finally, by like 7 a.m., like I go to bed at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., maintenance is able to actually be here. And they spend the whole day just cleaning our carpets, taking care of the toilet issue. I didn't know, like, obviously toilets can be removed from the ground.
Yes,
but
they
I've
can.
never seen it happen. Very strange to just see a toilet just kind of sitting in the wrong bathroom. So yeah, that's everything. And finally, by 4 p.m., I think it was, everything is kind of chilling. But yeah, it's been a day.
Wow.
It's been a day.
Well, we are glad you are here with us tonight. Always appreciate all of your insights because you have always got some good ones. Okay. Top 5. Let's talk about it. And we usually do a blow-by-blow of each game. This week we have unilaterally.
Games.
Is unilaterally the right word here? We have
unanimously.
You have unanimously decided that we are not going to be doing that because 5 games is a lot of games. We'll save that for playoffs when we inevitably go to a game 5 against C9 and then lose it in heartbreaking fashion, right? So let's just talk about the weekend overall to start. So 2 L's straight away. EG and surprisingly Immortals. And if I recall correctly, looking at the predictions last week, we all predicted Fly to beat Immortals. I was the only one to predict EG to win. And then finally, of course, none of us expected us to beat C9. And
not at all.
And to be fair, watching that game back about an hour ago, I was surprised we won that game. It was another like close game against a top team that somehow we won through our team fighting. So yeah, Knox, I'm just curious. I mean, my notes are very scattered and non-existent. I mean, do you have any overall notes on the weekend, how the drafts went, things like that? While I definitely don't pull a bunch of stuff up for myself.
Far and away, our best draft of the weekend was that Cloud9 match.
Yeah.
I mean, I straight up credit. 100 Thieves kind of paved the way in terms of the Malphite pick against Summit, and so props 100 Thieves. You showed us the light, followed the path, and it led to a win. Mm-hmm. Far and away, Cloud9 draft was the best draft of the weekend. Second best had to have been during Golden Guardians, although a little bit more iffy. Could have been a little bit better, but it is what it is. I think really though, our biggest frustration right now is kind of the drafted game decision making. So and you can see that painstakingly in like the EG games specifically. So hopefully we start cleaning that up, especially when playing either Team Liquid or EG in 2 weeks from now. And the one good news is we have 2 weeks to figure it out. So hopefully we really monitor being played. We look at different regions. Go this weekend and we really study and we do our homework. The thing is, like, we keep squad. They're not that good. Like, they're kind of our kryptonite, right? Kind of like how Dignitas is the 100 Thieves. Like, but they're not that good. So they should be winnable. So I'm really, really hoping this 2 weeks we sit down, we study. I don't predict EG beating TL. So I really just hope we study our homework and we buckle down for EG because it's an absolutely winnable playoff game for us, I think.
Yeah. Gyoto tweeted less than an hour ago a bit of a complaint about how can't wait to play playoffs in 5 days on a patch that is released in 2 days. And I wonder.
I'm actually a little tilted about that.
I wonder if there's some level of advantage to us having an extra week to figure out the patch, learn a little bit, see what other people are playing on stage, do some scrim stuff. So that might be
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it could be something we could utilize. Curly.
I'm kind of like, I was gonna say, can I go on a tangent real fast?
Oh, do it, please.
That tweet actually annoys me because last year all the NA teams were complaining about how behind or like on playoffs, and so that when they got to MSI, they had less practice time on the actual MSI patch. And so the moment Riot does that change, teams are complaining again. Like, you got to make up your mind. Like, which one do you want? Patch behind and have plenty of time to practice for playoffs, or do you want to kind of take the L and have a short practice time for playoffs, but if you make it to MSI, like, you're actually well practiced for it. Like,
right.
Choose. You can't have it both ways.
Right. Like, EU is playing on 12.5B, right? For the entirety of playoffs. So, if anything, they'll be the ones slightly behind, which is interesting. Curly.
Yeah.
These drafts this weekend, some of which I would say better than others. I really want to note, Johnson played 5 different champs this weekend. He played Zeri, Jinx, MF, Aphelios, and Ashe. Mixed success, obviously. Also of note, Kumo did the same thing. 5 different champs in 5 games. Tukui, 4 different champs in 5 games. 2 RE games. Boo. And Afro also picked 5 different champs in all 5 games.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love that.
I mean, how do you... I think that's really good to see. Wow, we've got deep champion pools across the board. I mean, what level of confidence does that fill you with, especially when, we've got another couple weeks to prepare for what's to come?
I mean, for me, like, just showing that we can adjust our draft and have pretty much everyone, aside from, like, I know we were consistently doing the Jose Dioto Viego, but, like, for everyone else, we were changing, and the fact that we were always able to find a comp that worked for us in some capacity, even when, unfortunately, like, just the fact that we felt, okay, we can play this, we can do that. It's really good to see. And then also on top of that, I think it's just really good for making it harder for whoever we face in the second week of playoffs to prepare for us. Oh shit, like, which of these drafts are they going to pull out? And then arguably, because we had 5 games this weekend, we could, depending on patches and success and scrims and all that stuff, we could literally run back this weekend in a best of 5 because of it. It's like, all right, because we found 2 comps that work, so it's like, all right, we do those 2 comps, and it's like, what can we adjust about the other ones to make them work for the best of 5? Or run Viego or not Viego, I'm sorry, do we run Vagar again? Like, it's just a lot of good things to see, because that means now it's on the coaches. It's like, all right, figure out how to utilize these champion pools very effectively. Now, I will say one thing. The side from draft, I see, like, even though we do have the diversity from all the roles, is I was I want to bring it up, like, I want to just talk about a little bit I think it was Mark Z put up eyebrow analysis on I think it was Saturday. We picked the Rakan, yes, or was that against Evil Geniuses?
Hang on, I've got it here.
It was against Evil Geniuses. Sorry. So it was the EG draft on Saturday or Friday was kind of a big oof.
Yeah.
The Rakan, a little bit inty, and you could see, like, from it is like they weren't on the same page here. I don't know. I've got to pick a champion to play. And so, like, even though it is something different from Aframu, I think I would have liked to have a, like, all right, we're making a solid plan. Afromo, here is the support you're going to go. So that's one thing I would note is like, don't just make these champions. Oh, I can play that. Maybe it'll work. I guess.
Right. Yeah. No,
That's
totally.
like the big thing. And then also, please in EG and please stop giving EG or Danny Zeri. Those are the two big keep letting through that I think hurt us the most.
Right. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, the ban from Danny.
Yeah, I think if there's anything I do want to focus on in this weekend, it is the EG game, just simply because I felt like we got kind of rolled in that one. And I'm pulling up the pick ban order. So they banned the Tom Kench and I believe first picked the Knot. Yes, and then and it's really interesting to me because then next they go for the Zaya Viego, and right, they've already got the support, so I don't really see why we need to go for the Rakan here because they already have support. We're not trying to split Zaya Rakan at all. So I want to talk about, like, okay, is there another support that we could have gotten here? And then the other thing that really stands out in this draft, obviously, is the Riven. And picking the Riven into the Graves, and I think we need to just talk about that because for a couple reasons, it did not work. And if we run something like that again, there needs to be a drastic change and in how we play the game. And mainly for this game, if you're counter-picking this Riven into the Graves, why was there zero attention paid to top lane from anyone? No support roams, no mid roams, jungle never comes top, and Kumo's just kind of like left on an island to fare against this Graves, and Impact just kind of smurfs on him. Now, yes, it's Impact. He's really good, but, why pick this champion that's supposed to be a carry top laner? You're not building tank Riven, right? You're building it to deal damage. So where was the attention? Either one of you, if you've got a thought on that, please go ahead.
I mean, yeah, to start, like, it is, when you pick Riven, and especially, like, I think this is one of those cases where I've always talked about I want to see Kumo. So it's like, Riven's she needs to be able to 1v9. Kumo versus Impact, where he's going to need at least one gank from Jose Dioto or a champion to more give him a weak side component. And, like, exactly, to me, a weak side champion, it's like, all right, I'm going to be the strong side. So just in that fact alone, if that's what you are going for, I was very disappointed to see a tension from Dioto or even like a roam from Takui. But I think some other options for Kumo here would have been just some better champions to face the Graves, because I can see some parts of how Riven is supposed to counter Graves. But if you want like some gap closed in, I think just mechanically we've seen better Irelias from Kumo. So, land just some good abilities to mark your lane opponent and just Q on them and just keep shredding them. And you can deal out more DPS than the Graves, and soak up a lot of that with your W. So Irelia would have been a better pick. That being said, I do need to check draft or bans to make sure that wasn't banned out, and it doesn't look like it was banned out. So that was definitely something that was on the table. Another thing you could have seen is, like, this might sound toxic, I think even a Teemo might have been a better choice here. Like, I'm not saying actually pick it, but like
that might be a hot take. that may belong in the oven, Curly.
That's going in the hot take.
It's oven. Like it's not like on paper actually better, but the way it played out, it's like I would have rather seen some Teemo solo queue just put a bunch of mushrooms around the map late game gameplay, because it's like, all right, lose lane, kill with a shroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then, like, I don't know, there were just some other thing. Like, I feel like there are other champions that we've seen Kuma on that would have been a better answer than the Riven.
Mm-hmm.
So I think picking the Riven in the first place was also a little bit of a mistake.
Yeah, totally. Knox, to get back to that point about the Rakan, I'm just not super sure. And then not only the pick of the Rakan, but then the play of it. I mean, we had a really memorable moment where Afro re-engaged on JoJo, and I forget exactly what time that was in the game. But very unfortunate play right there. Not something you want to see. And I just, dislike this pick. I mean, do you have a defense for it, or is it only a critique?
I mean, I see what warrants picking it, right? Like, you have 1, 2, 3.5 range champions on, like, I say half on Graves because it's very like he's ranged, but he's very short ranged, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have like 3.5 melee champions on the EG side, which generally, when you're initiating team fights, like that kind of causes them to clump up, especially if they're trying to dive in on a particular target.
Mm-hmm.
For Rakan, means very easy ultimates, very easy W, get in, get out, knock them up, goodbye. Like I kind of get it, I understand. I'm still of the opinion that like I just don't think Rakan's all that great right now, unless paired with Zaya, in which case Zaya was already taken away. And the thing is, like you mentioned it earlier, right? Like the Nautilus was already picked. You know for a fact they're not gonna pick Rakan. So I just don't think it was something that was really all that necessary. I think I would have rather seen something like a Thresh here, which is kind of disappeared from the meta and is very confusing for me. I think honestly, still very busted. I don't know why teams aren't picking it as much.
Right.
Yeah. So I understand the Rakan. Like I'm not gonna bash it horribly. Like it is there. I think the actual process of execution is very though, especially when you're pairing it with like a Riven, Hecarim, Ahri's. Like this is a very mechanically heavy comp.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of notice. I'm gonna kind of branch away here a little bit. Is FlyQuest started slowly? I don't want to say dumbing down their comps, but making their comps like more about ease of execution, right? Especially like that Cloud9 game where it was like Fortune, just like knock them up, light up your ult, and bam, they're all dead. Nice and easy.
To be fair,
yeah, it was Bronze Zodia.
To be fair, it did work to some extent.
And that's exactly my point, right? It absolutely worked. I think I want to say it was Azael. Azael called it out on the cast. Like typically when you go for these like Wombo combo comps, like you get called out in the early game, you get punished in the lane phase, and really at the end of the day, the only lane that was really truly punished was Kumo's, and even then he's on a Malphite into like 380.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to do that. So honestly, start coming down to, or what I'm hoping FlyQuest does is, because if you want me to be brutally honest, I don't think this team is ever going to be good enough to be able to pull these kind of comps off and consistently win with it. Maybe occasionally here and there you can get wins with it, but if you want to be able to take best of fives off some of the higher end tier teams, you're going to have to make your comps easier to execute on.
Well,
yeah,
and that goes to something that I was also saying to you beforehand. I forget where I saw this, if it was in the FlyQuest Discord or in the FlightCheck Discord. And if it was you, someone in the chat, please claim credit because it was great. But the sentiment was basically, on any given day, this team, and we have seen them, can beat Team Liquid, Cloud9, 100 Thieves. Can beat those teams in a game. It's not, losing 100% of the time. But also, on any given day, we can lose to teams like TSM and Immortals. I don't think we lost to TSM, but, that's the feel that you get about this team. So it's an incredibly high ceiling and a very low floor. And that variance is concerning, I think, where you should be a bit more consistent. You would want to be more consistent. And I think that's reflected in our finishing 10-10, flat 500 record. And I think there were a couple teams we 2-0'd and a couple teams we 0-2'd. But the consistency for this team has been inconsistency. Showing up and beating Cloud9, but losing to Immortals the day before. And it doesn't necessarily fill me with confidence when we know we're going to play. What best of 5 drops down to our
EGTL.
Yeah. EG.
So likely
we're gonna get a rematch against EG.
Probably playing EG again, right? Unless they can pull off some kind of miracle. And the way that they have rolled us 3-0 over the split, I just don't feel confident about that right now, unless we can really do something great with this patch. Curly, I want to throw it to you to see if you've got any thoughts on that statement.
Well, so my major thoughts are inconsistencies came in the second round robin, because first round robin, I think we were actually very overperforming for nations, even on our own, and we were doing well, and I was very inspired by all that. But then after that 0-3 Super Week, I do think there's like something that kind of affected the mental of the whole squad, and that's why we became a little bit inconsistent. And then on top of that, not just the mental for our own squad, but like just due to everything that's happening with some other teams, like some changes, everything went crazy for the second round. A lot of wins and losses that happened that shouldn't have happened, and it was very crazy. So I don't think it's just Fly that suffered from some inconsistencies, and I think that's also something that is potentially like due to the nature of Spring Split in the second round robin, because a lot of the upper teams that are more likely to just we're going to get playoffs no matter what might feel some more try and prep, like, all right, can we try this thing and do limit testing, whereas some lower tier teams might be like, we've got to really pick up the slack, screwed. And so they'll be like, have that anime protagonist that we're about to go down buff, and even if they still get, like, they are like performing at 110%, whereas we might be at 80%. So that's, I think, a lot of what might have happened there. But something that makes me comfortable going into playoffs, that makes me think we might be able to pull out a winning best of 5, is the fact that we have a week off, because I think the week off to just sit back and observe, I don't know what the training schedule is going to look like for Fly. Know if they're going to be like, all right, we're going to take this extra week of it, or if they're going to kind of do what some other teams did before Worlds, where it's like, hey, we're just going to relax, take that mental break. Sometimes when you're working too long, it actually hurts you. So it's like, I'm kind of actually hoping they do that, where they just take the week off, scout the opponents, and then do next week. That'll be a good mental reset for the squad. Because something I was also noticing is if there is a hint of fatigue certain games, and that was something that was definitely way more apparent in the summer squad last year, where it was just like, it's like there's a lack of inspiration. I don't see it as severe as it was last year, but I do think it's something that we need to keep an eye out for, because especially I don't want to get into this because I've talked about it a lot last year, but from what I know, there's not as big of a support to the Fly question, so they really have to use like each other a lot more than some other teams might have. So I do think I'm hoping that they take this week off and they'll be able to get a fresh, rested squad for next week.
Yeah. I had a point that I was going to say in response to that, and now I can't remember what it was.
You need to go to bed soon, Sandy.
I do need to go to bed. No, I remember what it was now. On the motivation question, I do think this team is very highly motivated. I think the fresh blood of, I think especially Tukui, I think he seems very motivated to come in show that he's worth the investment and stump. And I think up until this weekend, most folks would say he's been doing pretty good. It was a rough weekend for him, for sure, but I think most people would put him in the top half of the league for mid laners. I mean, there was even, I think Jat was saying on JLXP today, he was definitely in consideration for All Pro, maybe even first team All Pro. Maybe up until this weekend, and then maybe he'll get knocked down a peg. But he's been by far our most outstanding player, in my opinion, and he's really upgraded this team in a way that I'm really, really excited about, and am really excited about down the road as this team continues to grow and hopefully can continue to look to make upgrades, maybe things like that. Okay, let's just talk about the back half of the weekend's games super fast. So beat Cloud9. A lot of good Drake control in that game. Ocean Soul was really good. Winsome looked so bad in this game. The Alistair pick was not doing it. I think I looked at one point, he was 068. I think it probably got worse after that as well. But that game looked really good.
Alistair feels like a very either you're thriving or you're just nothing.
I don't think Alistair's good right now. That's my thought. Then
I concur.
Yeah, then let's talk about the Golden Guardians game. Because if you want to talk about relative power levels and power rankings, right? I mean, we basically played GG and we played EG, and it showed where everyone really is in terms of power level. Beat EG in 37 minutes. Another scaling team fight comp for us. I love when we do this because I can just joke, don't worry guys, we scale in Discord, the whole time. I liked seeing Kumo on the Ornn. Johnson Afro on the Aphelios Thresh is a great combo. This felt like a really, just looking at this comp, haven't been able to review this game footage, but looking at this comp, I like it a lot for us. Nox, assuming you've watched this game, just talk to me about how this game went, what the flow was like, who stood out, things like that.
Our comp here goes right back to what I was saying earlier, right? Like the ease of execution comp. Front to back, you have your two carries of Aphelios and Orianna who are supposed to be in the back line. You have 2.5 tanky boys who are supposed to be making it an absolute pain for anyone from Golden Guardians to get onto either the Orianna or the Aphelios. You have it engaged in the form of the Thresh and the Ornn. What's not to say? It's just a very nice, standard, easy comp to do. The lanes are if they lose, in the case of Kumo, you shouldn't lose very hard because it's a Kennen. Everything about this comp was absolutely what I want to see from the guys. You scaling, they end up surviving the early game as well because you're not these aren't lanes that hard lose. Although it wasn't going all that well either because Golden Guardians is a very, very good early game team. I can't ask much more than this. Like I said, this was, in my opinion, our second best draft of the weekend. Mm-hmm. And the overall gameplay itself, honestly, was just solid, right? On top of the fact that Golden Guardians played horrendously, if I'm being completely honest. Licorice, I don't know what you were doing. Pride Stalker was unable to achieve anything. Golden Guardians kind of with the actual gameplay itself. But I thought we were very, very solid in this game. I was very, very happy with how it played out.
Yeah, Curly, thoughts on this one? Going into the Kennen Nocturne, Victor Jinx Nautilus, another reasonably solid comp. I don't really have a problem with that one.
I'm going to be honest, I actually disagree a little bit. I think given current meta, and just the way draft went, I do think GG kind of outdrafted themselves. Because Nocturne, I think, is like a jungler that you have to be consistently ganking really early so that you have that huge early power spike to just kind of keep the enemy team like on the ropes, and then you have to make sure you use that momentum very, very quickly. Whereas, like you said, we have a scaling comp. And I've talked about it before. A common thing some LEC casters have said is once you get to late game Nocturne, all he can do is turn the lights on and off. But I don't even think we gave him a chance to get to late game. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But then also, Licorice, by banning out the Gnar, we did a great call there because I don't know the record on it, but from what I've seen, Licorice, when he has to blind pick and he doesn't have that comfort pick of the Gnar, he doesn't always have as good of a time. Counter picking, but blind picking, not as much. And I don't think I've ever seen him have the prettiest Kennen. So yeah, I just think their comp was a little bit weird. The Victor and the Nautilus were definitely good picks in the Jinx. So I think it was just jungle top question marks. And we just had a better answer there. And then when it came into the gameplay, it's just, I think also we were kind of riding the momentum of, hey, all right, we just beat C9. We can clap these fools. And we just played better.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then finally, the EG game. Another 30-minute roll. Pulling up that draft real quick. Where is it?
This one long. It's kind of the same old story that has been happening against DG this whole split, right?
Yeah.
Literally the top lane matchup was the same one from when we played EG in the round robin. It was Graves into Kali. Yet again, Impact kind of rolled over the Graves the entire time. Jojo is pretty much the one person that Tukoi consistently loses to in lane. He's probably, and to be fair, Jojo is the best laning mid laner in the LCS right now, in my opinion. He is number one in that aspect. So Tukoi is losing lane. It's probably the only time he's lost lane outside of, like, I think Bjerg had a push on him for a little bit in one of the other games that he played against TL, but that was about it. The shining point of this game, honestly, was Johnson, and it sucks because he was on an Ashe, which is more of a supportive AD carry than it is like a hard AD carry, right? Mm-hmm. And it felt like no matter what, we couldn't get the opportunity to play around him. More than anything, that level 1 play, or not level 1, it's probably more like a level 2 play. That level 2 play where we were kind of going for Raptors just kind of cemented the whole game. Like, it was just downhill from there. And Jojo and Inspired were just absolutely fed from that point. We just could never, we couldn't ever get the momentum back because at that point, Akali was solo winning the lane against top. Our was absolutely gapped, and for the most part, Johnson and Afro absolutely negated Danny and Vulcan outside of the occasional snipe kill that Zeri was able to pick up whenever roaming mid. But yeah, at the end of the day, the one okay lane for you is an Ashe and a Tahm Kench. You're not gonna make the comeback. It's just not gonna happen. So. I think more than anything, that game was just kind of chalked from the very beginning, and it's going to be plenty of VoD reviews over, hey, why are you even going for the invade at this point in time after, it was even done in broadcast, right? I forget who was casting. I think it was Azale again, but he was like, why are you going for an invade when JoJo can literally just swoop up in between the two, between the mid river and the Raptor camp, right? He gets access to Jose Dioto right off the bat before Tukui can even get there and back him up. So, I don't know. There's a bunch of bad miscommunication in that game, and it's kind of the same old story that's been happening all 3 EG games that we played against in the split.
Yeah, which I guess moving forward to playoff expectations, I think this is a good segue. If we are expecting EG, I do think we need to talk about what to expect if we play TL. If we're expecting EG, it's concerning that we just haven't been able to match up against them whatsoever. And playing TL, we beat them once in the regular season, so it's again, this weird thing where, wow, we could win a game or two, maybe 3 if all the chips fall where they need to. But we're at a disadvantage starting in losers bracket. It's not gonna be easy. However, there's always hope. I don't want to be pessimistic Sandy here. I think there's a good chance that we are able to turn some things around if we can work on the communication, if we can run with some comfort drafts, things that we are we know we're good playing, and can avoid giving a team like EG the picks that we know that they can stomp with. Danny's Zeri, for example. So, I mean, we'll have to hold off on predictions until, we know the opponent, right? But I just saw Rhodes' comment in the chat, and I've got so many questions.
Try not to laugh at it.
I've lost my train of thought.
Boy,
oh boy.
Your point was basically we just need to watch EG how they play against TL this weekend, or vice versa.
Well, if you assume TL's going to beat EG, we need to watch how TL beats EG and then do that. I mean, it's that simple. There's plenty of footage this season, exactly 9 games of it, of EG losing. So, that's 9 games of footage for us to go back and see, and scrims, to see how do you beat this team. And I think it's doable. Curly, I mean, right now, playoff expectations, how are you feeling? I mean, we have to feel good that we made it, and I think this is a point that, Knox, you've got something to talk about in a minute. But Curly, you go first on this.
I mean, when it comes to playoffs, my expectations they're very up in the air, right? Because there's the FlyQuest fan of me that wants to believe we can go all the way to finals in some world. Now, granted, that's like a crazy high expectation, and that's just respecting the other opponents we'd have to face. But I don't think it's unreasonable to say we have a chance to make it to the second round of the lower bracket. Depending, it really does come down to how well we prepare for EG, because if we face TL, I don't think we make it, because TL, in my opinion, just as an org, is really, really good at best of fives, and then especially with the current team, gonna keep running with it. I mean, it's consistently lose to TL, and they go ahead and win playoffs if we're talking about lock-in. So if we have to face TL, unless shit goes crazy, I think it's doomed. But with EG, I do think we have a chance. It really just comes down to being smarter about our drafts against them. Because even in our last 2 losses to them, I haven't always felt like we looked bad, even with what I consider to be a worse draft. It's just we were never able to look good. And so if we set ourselves up for success and deny them some of their chances for success, I do think as a team we can perform better. So that's how I'm feeling about playoffs. And then once, if we get to the second round, I think that is probably my expectation. We can get there. If we get farther, great. If we don't, that's okay. I'm still satisfied with how far we got. And I'm also looking forward to seeing road roller signs in the background of the cameras when those are broadcast.
Yes, I'm very excited. Yeah, fans, butts back in seats.
Fans in the studio,
as Captain Flowers would say.
That's another thing. How is FlyQuest going to perform with an audience? That's another thing that I haven't been able to witness as a fan in my time as a fan.
Maybe maybe we step it up. Maybe JoJo and Danny just absolutely crumble under the pressure of having fans in the studio. I mean, all kinds of wild things could happen here, Yeah, Knox, let's talk expectations, both playoffs and from preseason to now, and I know you've got a little thing you want to talk about, so why don't you run with that?
Right. So, I mean, for playoffs expectations, I'm going to keep it nice, sweet, short, and simple. If we have a good showing in our first playoff match, even if we don't win it, if we take a game off and the other games are competitive, I will be satisfied. Like, hell, even if we get 3-0'd, but like all 3 games look at least, it's going to hurt a little bit, but I will be satisfied. That's all I want to see is that we are competitive. So yeah, no matter whether it's TL, whether it's EG, as long as we look like we can at least stand up to them, that's all I'm asking for, and I'll be more than happy with the team, and then hopefully we can go into summer looking renewed and ready to go, right? Because at the end of the day, and this is where the other part of it kind of comes in, is none of us were expecting this team to be 5th place, right? Like, everyone had this team ranked. I think the highest official analyst anyone had was, I feel like I keep name dropping, but Azael, yet again, was the highest person ranking FlyQuest was at 7th.
Yeah.
What you got, Curly?
I'm just saying in my mid-season predictions, I did put them at 5th, but preseason I did not. So I was happy right there.
Preseason. So, but fair play to you. You had more faith than even I did. But yeah, like at the beginning of the preseason, the highest anyone had him was Azael at 7th, right? Did I freeze?
I think.
No, you're still.
Wait, okay, no. Okay. Anyway, I think it's frames dropping.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
we outperformed by a lot, right? Like by everyone's expectations. So, and I don't know if you, with the whole frames happening and whatnot, we're gonna be able to show it. But
No,
basically, I posted my. Okay, I posted my preseason rankings basically, and the only surprise that I had in any of my rankings was FlyQuest outperformed my rankings by 1, which was I had them in 8th with a range of +2, -2, and they finished 5th. And then TSM, but I'm pretty sure everyone had TSM pretty messed up, right? So, and to go with that, I posted these preseason rankings in the Oracle's Elixir Discord, which Peter Dunn, the head coach of EG, is in, and he even replied to me and was like, "Wow, that's kind of impressive because nobody had FlyQuest being that high. So, like, props for even having them where you had them." And so, I think just I really hope there's more narrative given to FlyQuest on the official broadcast of like, "Hey, you guys have done awesome with this roster. Like, props to you guys for how well you crafted this and how well you're making it work because no one believed in you guys to do this well."
I will say,
I want Jet to do the monologue.
I will say, I forget if it was on, it might have been on the dive, but they did say last week they gave a lot of props and credit to the management for consistently, except for last year, but for consistently putting together teams with a very low budget that still managed to perform. And I mean, obviously everyone can think of the 2020 Worlds roster. That was not a high budget roster, to some extent. This is, definitely not a high budget roster. I mean, we're not signing Han Sama, we're not signing Summit, over here. We're running mostly, a lot of NA talent and a couple cheaper imports, right? Because they're just unproven talent. So, yeah, amazing to see. Even our own expectations were basically bottom 3 at the start of the season, right? And I would love to go back and find our start of split podcasts and, where we talk about those expectations and just see how wrong we were, what we were saying, and just, create like a little...
some crazy dude put 100 Thieves at 6 for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who could have possibly said something like that.
Take belongs to me, Evan.
Yeah, that take did not go well. But yeah, so I'm grateful to be here. I think that's the takeaway that I have about this split so far, and we'll just have to see how it goes. Depends on our opponent. Okay, quick hit, and I need to type this out on the topic. Nox War did not go 0-8 in fantasy. Knox wore not 0-8. He managed to save it at the very last minute. Let me pull up the score there. Beating Sly Penguin, I believe, right?
Yes, I beat Sly Penguin.
My internet is struggling tonight. Yeah, by a solid 60 points. So, congrats on that. 7th place. I managed to finish 6th. And, Road Roller, you did win the Fantasy League. So, as promised, I'll DM you and shoot you, I think I said like a $10, maybe $15 RP gift. So that is for you for winning. Go ahead.
This man has won fantasy and pick'ems now.
This guy's just absolutely cracked
Unstoppable
at picking stuff. Okay. We had one more topic, and I'm trying to. Oh yes,
Academy.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. Proving grounds.
Kind of a somber note after tonight, right before the podcast
Bit of a
started.
somber note. If Knox was basically, and I was watching this game too, like literally up until the show started, and there was a meme in our Discord. It was I think Lee put it in there.
Lee posted it.
Win one team fight to give fans false hope. Which I feel like kept happening over and over. We would get a pick, and then another pick, and then another pick, and be like, yeah, let's go. We keep getting picks, but somehow we were staying 4,000 gold down the entire time in the game, and then they just took soul, and it was kind of tough after that. But since we left off with them, I believe they beat 100 Next last week in a pretty convincing 2-0. Knox, if you want to speak to that. I think that's a good sign because now that they've dropped down to losers bracket, they literally play the winner of 100 Next and Winthrop University. So, I feel pretty good about it making it out of losers round 2. But talk about that 100 Next series, if you will, real quick.
I mean, it wasn't anything like super special. Right? It wasn't like the wild card series where we were literally just having a walk through the park. They actually put up a fair amount of resistance. And at the end of the day, though, I mean, it's still an amateur org, even if it is sponsored by 100 Thieves. We have more resources, we have more coaching knowledge, and we have some better developed players, even though there's literally Insanity on the squad. There's General Sniper, who's been this huge solo queue prodigy. You have Fnatic, who's been in the scene for a little bit, who's really, really good. And then you have Sword and Array, I think. Array. And so, I mean, like, they're not a bad squad by any stretch of the imagination, but at the end of the day, we are just a more established team. And most of the games, while having some resistance, were just solid for us. It was a nice clean 2-0. A couple of mistakes here or there that 100 Next are good enough to punish, but that's all there really was to it. So I'm not really worried about heading into the next match because I'm predicting 100 Next to beat Winthrop, right? Winthrop is probably one of the weaker teams in this tournament currently. So I'm expecting to have a rematch, and even then I'm expecting Fly to go ahead and still win again.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good. It'll definitely be a good series. A bit unfortunate to drop to TLA, but I mean the bracket is pretty big. Trying to pull that back up. So yeah, we would. If we were to beat the winner of 100 Next Winthrop. On the other side of the bracket for us, in losers round 1 is Immortals, AOE, and TSM Academy, and then I think they would face the winner of that faces the loser of Dig Academy and Cloud9 Academy, which I feel like that's a bit more of a toss-up. I'm not exactly sure.
Wait,
probably Cloud9 Academy.
So Leaguepedia just switched everything.
Oh.
So now it has us playing the winner of EG Prodigies versus No Team.
Well, that changes things a lot, and I don't like that anymore.
I mean, the concept stays the same. Like, EGP and No Team both have not looked all that good. That should still be a dub for us, but
yeah.
that
Well, either way, we're playing an
literally that's not how Wikipedia literally looked an hour ago.
No,
it
it's
just
not.
Changed.
Literally just changed. Either way,
every time you guys bring up Proving Grounds bracket, I get
yeah. Either way,
complex.
Gonna be playing an amateur team there. So we rolled the last amateur team we played. Should be expected to win. I don't know if we talked. I don't remember what we said last week, but now that we're down in losers round 2, does this reshape our expectations for the team? Like, how far do we feel like they should be going? I feel like making it to losers round 4 is probably
that
a
was
good
my
goal.
that was my goal expectation. Yep,
Yeah.
agreed.
Losers round 4, probably a good goal. So that would be, I believe, that's like top.
So
6,
realistically,
top 8, something like that.
It's top 8. So realistically, we beat either EG or No Team, which very very good chance of doing that.
It's actually top 6.
More than likely, we either play EGA or Dignitas Academy, which both are absolutely winnable. Probably going to be a close matchup. Don't get me wrong, but like completely winnable series for us. And at that point, that can put us in the round of 4, which gives us access to best of 5s. And we'll play, I'm assuming, the loser of Immortals Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy, which that one's going to be tough. They're both very, very good teams, but even that is winnable, I think. But no matter what, I'm really expecting, like, hey, round 4 is where this team should be stopping if we get stopped.
Yeah. Curly, thoughts on the academy team? I mean, where are you looking for them to finish in this tournament?
I mean, so based on what I've been able to observe the last week or so, and then what you guys have talked about throughout the season, so we should win the round we're about to be in. I think we can absolutely pull off the next round, and then it just going to come up to the best of 5s. That's where I'm like concerned.
Yeah.
That would be like where we'd be able to go, because if I remember correctly, we went 1-1 with almost every team, including Immortals and GG during the spring academy split. And so that means we should hypothetically be kind of even with all of them, even if they ended up higher in standings. So it's like the best of 5. It's like that would really be a case like, all right, is it going to be through?
Uh-oh.
Well, Curly died.
Did we lose Curly? I think the rest of the show is running just fine, so might have lost.
I can still hear you.
Well, all right.
Might be time to wrap it up anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a good note to end on. Maybe his internet dipped out on him.
Done talking. Time to end the show.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, then let's get to some parting thoughts. Nope, that's the wrong. That's the wrong copy paste.
You need to go to bed. Curly's done for the night. Yeah.
Well, I thought I thought I hit copy on my part of the script, but instead I accidentally copy pasted in.
Oh! Is he back?
I'm very confused because hello.
You were
gone, dude.
Yeah, you were.
Dude, the weirdest thing is I could hear you guys the whole time talking about "Am I Gone?" Like it was right here, just fine.
Yeah, we weren't. We didn't hear a thing you said, unfortunately.
Oh well. Point is it's 50-50 against the best of 5s. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough.
That's a summary.
All right. Well, I think we're heading towards wrap up of the show. Before we do, I want to ask you guys. So it's TLEG, and it's 100 Thieves C9. Let me get some quick predictions from you, gentlemen.
TL31, calling it right now.
I'm gonna be even more bold, and I'm gonna say TL30.
Ooh.
I think I'm there as well. TL30 for me. All right, and then 100 Thieves.
Curly
C9.
with the EG faith.
It's not EG Faith. It's I love Bwipo. I love Bwipo so much. I wouldn't.
You think
be
he's gonna have a
surprised
bit?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he has one where he's a bit too hyphy and he's like, "Oops, sorry, I lost it for my team."
Happens.
And then they're like, "Don't hit these next." And he's gonna be like, "Okay, okay, okay."
Happens.
Might be.
Happens to the best of us. 100 Thieves.
C900
C9.
Thieves. I'm gonna go last on this one. I need some time to brainstorm.
So, I may or may not be the bold take here, but I'm actually going to take 100 Thieves in this.
I could see it.
I think
absolutely. I think they're ramping up.
I think it's going to be a 3-1 100 Thieves.
I'm actually gonna agree with you, but different game score. I'm gonna say 3-2 100 Thieves. I think C9 is still very good, but I think 100 Thieves looks, except for losing to Dig yesterday.
It's fine. It's just a kryptonite.
Yeah. They have really ramped up, and they just look super strong. And really, it's nice to see the defending champ of the LCS coming back in a strong way. And then for TL EG, yeah, I said 3-0 for TL over EG. All right, Curly. Yeah, you ready?
I'm going to join you with the faithful, and I can absolutely see 100 Thieves pulling this out, especially because now that Abadalia is performing, like, he's going to gap the shit out of Fudge. I'm like, saying right now, he's probably one of the only players in the LCS that has made Ari look absolutely crazy, and it was against C9, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, 100 Thieves, 3-1, and and then we'll see C9 hopefully.
Yeah.
You were watching Abadage? I was too busy watching Someday Clap Summit in the top lane with Malphite.
Yeah.
We figured out the solution, right? It's like, how do you reach the summit? You become the mountain.
You become the mountain itself. Yeah.
True.
The true counter pick to summit is just playing Malphite. I mean, it was that easy all along. Okay.
It's a rock solid plan.
Oh boy, rock solid. Alrighty. Well, that is, I believe, pretty much everything on this episode. If you guys have anything left, interrupt me now, or forever hold your peace. But thank you all for tuning into this episode of Flight Check. FlyQuest does not play this week. They'll be playing the week after, but there's still LCS playoff action, and you'll want to watch those games to see who we end up playing and how we might beat them. That is also super important. So, be sure to follow us on Twitter for our thoughts and reactions to those games. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at SantosDB, Nox at Noxwar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well. All kinds of esports discussion otherwise taking place all the time. Sure. Good memes, top tier bants, as the kids say. If you missed any part of this episode, the VoD will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. Apologies for the dropped frames this evening. Don't know what was going on with my internet. Usually it's fine, but tonight decided to be scuffed. So it is what it is. The audio version of this episode should be up on Spotify and other platforms probably tomorrow afternoon, if I had to guess. And if you're listening to that and would like to catch the show live, we broadcast the episode every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew, barring instances where Curly's computer has to restart right before the show, or Nox forgets that we have the show at 8 o'clock. I'm bringing that one back. Curly, any final notes or shout-outs before we wrap up?
Final notes is like FlyQuest. I'm happy that we were able to pull out some momentum yesterday, and I really hope, just want to say again, I'm hoping the week off is going to help us. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing more from the squad. Also, content team always killing it. occasional segments, and the fact they've been very consistent this split compared to like last year with the content, which makes me so happy, so happy.
Yeah.
We'll need to figure out a new teams and playoffs though, because now we've Ikabana'd everyone, so we get Trisha, figure out what you're going to do next. As for shout-outs, though, shout-out to everyone who was ready and willing to participate in my 1v1 tournament over the week, even if you weren't able to attend. There were some, especially because I definitely inted by scheduling it during LCS, which saved me the pain of having to rules live, but definitely inted again programming-wise. So I definitely look forward to the next one, because it was still a very good time. And next one, I'm going to try to plan around not FlyQuest playing, so that the option of a FlyQuest XT is a lot more appealing, and maybe get some members of the Flight Check community in there, or some co-hosts if you guys feel like running it down in ARANs.
Totally.
I was there in spirit. I was ready to sub in.
You were ready to sub in.
I think there's a good chance I was either asleep or about to go to sleep. So.
No, that's very valid.
Dang, you said something and I wanted to follow up on it, and now I can't remember what it was. Knox, any shout-outs or plugs from you, sir?
All three of us are going to be in Houston to watch finals of LCS.
Yeah, we are.
And I
to watch FlyQuest,
am freaking hyped for it.
To watch FlyQuest beat 100 Thieves in the final. Am I right?
In a 3-2, so we can hear Silver Scrapes, and then go drink with Cole and Jordan afterwards. Be like, hey, team did well.
Better luck next season.
But yeah, all three of us will be. I have a couple content ideas which Curly and Sandy are not even aware of. But if anyone listening to this hears or wants any particular content pieces from us, please, by all means, DM me, let me know, and I will see what I can do. Or Sandy or Curly, even. But, yes, we'll have some live actual content with the three of us in person doing stuff. And if there's anything you guys want us to go do together or anything you want us to create, please let us know. I'm very excited for all of it. Outside of that, 100 Talk Pods coming up. Go watch them. They're playing Cloud9 this weekend. It's going to be a banger. And then outside of that... Actually, there's nothing else outside of that. That's it. Oh, yeah. Congrats to, again, once more for winning Flight Check Fantasy, and then for the FlyQuest Pick'ems as well. Like, what an absolute beast.
Yeah, this man doesn't miss.
Totally cracked on the predicts and the picks and bans, and I think that's how he won, was the picks and bans. And just nailing those every time. For my part, I've got a couple shout-outs. The FIFA World Cup is coming up. Shout out to the U.S. men's team for pretty much doing all but qualifying. Well, all but qualifying. So, if basically for them to not qualify for World Cup, they would have to lose their game by like 6+ goals. And then I think it's hang on, I just had this up.
I mean, we lost it last time World Cup came around off like a stupid scenario.
All right. So you only have to get top 3, right? They have a 3-point advantage over 4th place, and they have +10 on the goal differential. So they literally play the team in 4th place. They're playing Costa Rica. So if Costa Rica beats us by, I think, 6, we're out. The odds of that happening are incredibly low. It is not going to happen. We've basically qualified for the World Cup. Oh my. USA is
you
back,
better
baby.
You better knock on some wood, Sandy. I swear to God, if we miss another World Cup,
it's not going to happen. The other football-related shout-out I have is North Macedonia upset Italy in stoppage time in the second half.
Oh yeah!
With an incredible last.
Italy's out.
Goal. Italy's out, and now my
Oh.
people, Portugal, will be taking on North Macedonia for a World Cup spot instead of having to play Italy. So that game is tomorrow, and I will be out of work and eyes glued to the screen for that game to see if Ronaldo can carry us to the World Cup once again. Those are my shout-outs right there. I think that's it. Do you guys have anything else? All good?
Nope. You got me rehyped for the World Cup again, though.
Heck yeah, baby. It's football season. It always is. There's always football going on. We will be back next week. I'm pretty sure it actually will only be Knox and Curly. I will not be on the show next week, which is fine because we're not even playing this weekend. So I'm actually kind of okay with missing this episode, unfortunately. But those two will be back next week to discuss the playoff action this weekend and preview our upcoming series and losers bracket. So be sure to come back next week. Same flight time, same flight channel. So for now, stay safe out there. Don't forget to hit the head on the nail. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, everybody.
Later, guys.
Peace, y'all.